On the Israel-Iran war, the US president has made a major announcement. On a social media post, Donald Trump has said that a ceasefire has been reached between Israel and Iran a short while back. Trump even put out a lengthy post on Truth Social announcing the ceasefire, which will come into effect in less than 6 hours from now. The statement goes on to elaborate on the ceasefire arrangement. Donald Trump says that Iran will be the first to begin the ceasefire for up to 12 hours. At the 12th hour, Israel will also implement ceasefire, after which a completion of 24 hours, the 12-day war will officially come to an end. And while Israel and Iran are yet to officially confirm the acceptance of the ceasefire agreement, a short while back, IRGC sources told WION that Iran's supreme leader had been informed of America's announcement. Reports even reveal that Qatar had played a key role in negotiating the ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Officials say that Trump told the Emir of Qatar that Israel had agreed to ceasefire and also asked for Qatari help to persuade Iran to also agree to the deal. In fact, the ceasefire announcement comes within hours of Iran's retaliatory strike that was launched, which targeted US military base in Qatar and Iraq a few hours ago. Iran had carried out Operation Bashar al-Fateh that targeted the Al Udeid US Air Base in Qatar, which is the biggest American base in the region. There have been no casualties in Iran's strikes in Qatar. In fact, shortly after Iran's retaliation to America's strikes on its nuclear sites, Trump had released a statement calling for peace between Israel and Iran. Within hours then, it was the US president himself who was first to announce that a deal has been reached upon between the two warring nations. And to discuss all that's been happening in West Asia, especially in the last few hours, we are being joined by John Erith. He is a Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation in Washington, D.C. and also been former member of the U.S. delegation to NATO. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast. Obviously, fast-paced developments. Your quick thoughts first up on this ceasefire deal that's been agreed upon, because for now there's officially no statement from either of the side on the agreement that's been brokered.
Well, you make a very good point, and obviously if the ceasefire is a real one, it's very good news. But like everyone else, I'm watching very carefully to see the reaction from Iran and from Israel, and to see some confirmation from the governments in Tehran and Jerusalem. I want to see that these governments confirm and state that they will be ceasing any hostilities toward each other before I get very happy about this.
Yes, Mr. Erith, from what it appears, talking of Iran's airstrike on the military base in Qatar of the US, it appears more or less a face-saver move on part of Iran. Do you think that a nuclear deal agreement is a possibility between Iran and US, especially after all that has happened in the last few hours?
I would say that the attack was a symbolic one. The base was the largest US facility in the Middle East. It was one that was in proximity to Iran. And so was one that was of high symbolic value to the Iranian regime, and so it was an obvious target for them. So it was clear that this was a place that was someplace that Iran would want to strike. The symbolic value aside, I think the way is now open if the governments involved want to take it for diplomacy, particularly if the ceasefire is real and if it is able to persist. We can have some engagement on some arrangement that would, in effect, duplicate the positive features of the 2015 Iran deal and close up some of the loopholes and weaknesses in that arrangement.
Yes, Mr. Erith, if you can also talk to us about the immediate challenges for Trump, because obviously there is a lot of dissent, not just among the US citizens, but even among the Democrats and the Republicans. How do you think he's going to go about in quelling that dissent that's been brewing over US involvement in this war?
I think he created a very big problem for himself when he ordered the US Air Force to attack without informing and without obtaining the consent of the Congress. This is a point that is very important under US law. It's required that he obtain that, and he skipped this step. He's going to have to, in the next few days and weeks, he's going to have to make the case very clearly that there was some sort of emergency, that there was some sort of crisis that necessitated taking the military action when he did, and did not allow for the necessary consultation that the law required. This is going to be very difficult to do, and it's going to continue to generate some controversy.
Yes, Mr. Erith, shifting focus to the nuclear sites that have been targeted in Iran, there's still, of course, a lot of mystery over whether that 400 kg of enriched uranium has been destroyed or not. Talk to us about the possibility of that 400 kg of enriched uranium that could have been possibly relocated, as was quoted by Iranian official before US launched its airstrikes in the region.
I think at this point nobody knows, except for some people inside Iran, what has happened to the enriched uranium. It's obviously going to be the focus of investigation on the part of the U.S. and Israeli intelligence apparatus over the next few months. If there is going to be a lasting arrangement that the world can have confidence in, Iran is going to have to declare what has happened to this missing enriched uranium, and is going to have to come up with a way to secure it in a way that gives confidence that it will not be turned into a weapon.
Yes,
I don't know what that is, but it's going to be important.
And given that Iran has already said that it is considering suspending its cooperation with the United Nations nuclear watchdog, how is that investigation even going to happen? The radiation levels, how will it be monitored if, that is, Iran decides to suspend its cooperation with the United Nations nuclear watchdog?
The threat of suspending cooperation with the IAEA is one of the pieces of leverage that Iran has in the negotiations to come, assuming that there are negotiations to come. Iran can say we will suspend or not. The rest of the world fears what will happen if Iran has no contact with the IAEA, if it has this uranium that is unaccounted for, that nobody knows what is going on with. So this gives Iran some leverage in the process that is going to play out over the next few months. I think it is going to continue to play this card in order to continue to obtain this leverage. And I think that it's going to play this out as long as it can. This non-cooperation, it's consistent with the game Iran has played in the past. It has cooperated and withheld cooperation repeatedly over the whole of this process, even when it was technically barely in compliance with the 2015 deal. It backed away from some of the features of the deal when it suited it in order to gain additional leverage. So this is very much consistent with past behavior.
Yes, and Mr. Erith, talking about the Strait of Hormuz, which has been discussed a lot lately, is there still a possibility of Iran shutting down Strait of Hormuz, which is, as US puts it, going to be an economic suicide, that is, if it happens?
Again, this is a leverage point. A large percentage of the oil that goes to fuel much of the world passes through that international waterway. And so Iran knows that it can get everyone's attention by threatening to shut it down. If it does so, it hurts itself as much as anyone else because much of the Iranian oil and gas exports pass through the strait as well. So it's something that it would have to consider very seriously if it's actually going to do that. But it is the mere threat that gets everyone's attention and has an impact on world markets. So I think that it's going to be the threats in the short term.
Just last question, right? Just last question before we let you go, Mr. Erith. If you can briefly talk to us about what's at stake for the Gulf states, the Gulf countries here in this situation, which still remains volatile even as a ceasefire agreement has been brokered by Qatar and the US.
But to begin with, we don't know if the ceasefire is real or not yet. So I don't want to be too optimistic. We have seen in the past ceasefires that were announced and then immediately fell apart. So I'm retaining a little bit of skepticism on that until we see that it's actually in place and working. But we saw an example today of what is in it for the Gulf states when there was an attack on sovereign Qatari territory direct from Iran. There's the possibility that they can get drawn into a conflict that is not of their making. So I think this is a situation that is of direct importance and can affect all of these states directly.
All right, Mr. John Erith, appreciate you for your time. Thank you for speaking to WION.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so as we speak, an official statement is awaited from the Israel side as well as Iran on the ceasefire that's been agreed upon. In fact, just to read out that statement that was put out by US President Donald Trump, who says that a ceasefire has been reached between Israel and Iran. Trump even put out a lengthy post on Truth Social announcing the ceasefire, which he said will come into effect in less than 6 hours from now. The statement that he'd put out goes on to elaborate on the ceasefire arrangement. Trump has said that Iran will be the first to begin the ceasefire for up to 12 hours. At the 12th hour, Israel will also implement ceasefire, after a completion of 12 hours, the 12-day war will officially come to an end. So that's a statement on your screens that was put out by Donald Trump. And as we speak, Israel and Iran are yet to officially confirm the acceptance of the ceasefire agreement. And this while alerts have been sounded in Tehran, which has been the epicenter of Israeli strikes, as well as across Israel, as the bombardments and airstrikes continue by both the sides, while the ceasefire deadline looms large.